Woman, I'm about to start cooking. Look, let me get something first. Now I gotta get my stuff together. Let's see what we got here. Yep, this will do. Yep, get this guy. Now we're ready to rock and roll. Now I can cook. I'm glad you came back. Check this out. Today we're making ramen. Now, Mama Shra, she likes to eat cup of noodles, you know, instant lunch, you know, things of that nature. I mean, I'll eat it if I have to, but not really a big fan because I've tasted the good Asian ramen, right? And so I wanted to make some for her so she can get the flavors and how it feels and how it tastes, right? And you're going to learn how to do that too if you don't already know. It's tasty. You can pretty much put whatever you want to in it for the most part, but it's all about the broth. It's the broth that makes it. Now this is hot and I can't tip it to show you what's in it, but you saw the thumbnail. I know you're going to enjoy this. Hey, this is Shrashira. That's the best elevator music I ever heard. Now what we're going to start off with are some pork neck bones. Okay, this is going to be basically the base of the flavor of our broth. Okay, I have just over 5 pounds here. I'm going to start the cleaning process, and the first thing I'm going to do is let this soak for roughly about an hour, maybe a little over an hour, to get some of the blood out of it and the extra impurities that I don't want. So let me go ahead and add some water to this. And now we're going to let this sit, like I said, at least an hour, maybe a little over an hour, and then we'll clean them up, and then we'll start working on the actual broth itself. So let's let this do what it has to do. Now what we're going to do, I have a double bag here. Going to do the first initial wash. And then I'm going to put it in this double bag. I'm going to put it in the refrigerator because I got to do something real quick. It's going to take about 45 minutes and then I'll get back to the cooking. But let's get this stuff rinsed off. Get it cleaned. I mean, when we blanch it, it's going to get cleaned more. But we just want to get, you know, if there's any like blood clots, obvious blood clots, get those. You know, get what you're looking for is like the bone shards, right, from where they cut it up. You really want to focus on getting those, that debris, that bone chips, so it's nice and clean. And we're going to do this with all of it. And at this point, if you see like pieces of fat like this, right? We don't need that. We have enough meat and enough fat that we don't need to, you know, to use that. And we're not. Right? It's nice and cleaned up. And whatever you might miss on this point, you know, because when it was soaking, it was drawing a lot of that stuff out. But if you happen to miss something, make sure you get the grooves, the little tunnels and valleys. Whatever you might miss here, when we do the blanching, it'll pull all that out, and then the second cleaning will take care of all what you might have missed. So you don't have to do this first cleaning step, but I do, because I just don't have time. I don't have time for the messiness. Yep, if you need that, you can go. And you don't have to worry about taking off the fat, you know, the sinew, because we're just trying to get the flavor, right? That's all we want. So that stuff can stay. It can add to the flavor. But like I said, this part is to get rid of the bone chips and bone shards and any other excess blood that may have been missed when it was soaking. Like, look at that. That's just too much. It don't matter, because when it gets blanched, it's going to be gone. But I'm just real particular about it. I'm just real particular about it. See, look. Peel these extra bone clots out of there. Extra bone fragments and things. Look at that. See, somebody can get hurt if they eat that. Now when we boil this, yeah, we're going to be straining it, but I like to take the extra precaution anyway. Yeah, we don't need that. Alright. So now what I'm going to do is get these extra bits, the bigger pieces and the bone chunks, and we're going to dispatch these in the trash. Do not try to garbage dispose bones. It's not worth it. I don't care what kind of garbage disposal you got, do not do that. Okay, put this on hot so we can wash this sink out. While that's warming up, heating up, go ahead and double bag this. So this can go in the refrigerator until I get ready to cook it. Alright, so I'll see you when it's time to do the veggies. So I'm going to be cleaning a couple leeks here. Just going to cut off the end, right? And take this first outer shell off, right? And you can already see. You can already see that? The dirt and stuff on there. We're going to get rid of all that. We're going to get rid of all that. So what you want to do, from this end cut, actually before that, let's cut this off. About a ½ inch from the top. Get these off too. We don't want that. Okay, look at this. Is that dirt in there? We can't have that. We just can't have that. But what we're going to do is go about maybe 1.5 inches from the edge, cut down, pull it, right? Turn it, 1.5 inches, cut down, and see, this is going to open this up, you see? But it's going to hold it together somewhat. Now I'm going to do that to the other one, because I have two, and we're going to wash them. So let me do this real quick. Cut the root end off. This outer piece off. Look at all this dirt. Look at that. All that dirt. Come on, man. Gotta get that out of there. Cut. Pull through. Cut. Pull through. Now let's get this to the sink so we can wash it. Alright, so now when you're cleaning these, make sure you separate the leaves. Right? Separate the layers. Get all that in there. If you have to remove some, remove it. Yep, get it all washed out. You don't want that dirt in there. There's the other one. All right, now we're going to put the neck bones in here, and we're going to blanch them. We're going to blanch them for about 20 minutes. Yeah. Let these boil for about 20 minutes, and then we're going to strain them. And now once this comes to a rolling boil, that is when I'm going to start my clock for 20 minutes. All right, we're going to get all that gunk and foam charges. We're going to get that out of there. And then we're going to drain it, strain it, rinse it off, and then we're going to put this together. As you can see, the water's starting to roll and boil here. It's not a rapid roll and boil, but it's starting to roll. So now we're going to start our 20 minutes. So I'll see you in 20 minutes so we can strain this and let it cool as we wash it. It's been 20 minutes. Now let's go ahead and strain this bad boy. Turn this fire off. Let's strain it. Let's get to the sink. Meet you at the sink. Let's strain this bad boy and we're going to get them washed up. Now when we wash these, we're going to be putting them in this bowl here to cool a bit while we get everything else ready. You know, when you're doing this step, please be careful. This stuff is hot and you will burn yourself. Okay? So just be careful. Just want to wash it. I don't know if you can really see too much. Let me see. Yeah, I'll move this over here. See? Can you still not see? There, now. Wash it. Get the extra food chalk into the bowl it goes. I'm gonna move this bowl right here. Well, you can't see either way, so it's all good. So just rinse it. You're just trying to get all the debris. And again, you're scrubbing it with your fingers. You're trying to get the bone shards, bone chips, any old blood or blood clots that may still be resonating in there. You're going to get rid of those. See that? Look. See that? See I'm digging it out? Can you see that? Alright, can you see I'm digging it out? Get that out of there. Roll it out. See? I don't know if you can see it. Look, dig in there. Look at that. See how it comes out? Get that out of there. You don't want that. Here's another one. Look, get in that valley. See that? Get in there. Look, dig all that out. Can you see that? Look. Get all that out of there. Another one. Get in that valley. It's a little more difficult for me because I have bigger hands, but you should be fine doing this. You'll be okay. If I can do it, you can do it. You might even be able to do it easier than me. Yeah, and this little piece here looks like it might be a part of the spine, but we're going to use it. Still good meat. Still good flavor. Yep, see if we can get in there. Yep, clean all that out. And if you do it right, what you're left with is this foods, this debris, and we're gonna throw that all away. Now we got it rinsed and washed and blanched. Let's go ahead and work on the vegetables. All right, so now this broth, okay, we're gonna need seaweed or kelp. Now, depending on your location and what's available, I mean, if you look hard enough, you can find it. Now, what you can have is dried kelp or dried seaweed, right? It's shredded. You could use this, right? If you got cheesecloth, makes it easier. You wrap it. You could use that. It's fine. Me, I'm using dried kombu or kombu, right? This is kelp. Now, fun fact, kelp is seaweed, okay? It's a type of seaweed, right? But not all seaweed is kelp, okay? So keep that in mind when you're doing this. Now, if you're making this broth, you want, you know, roughly 1.5 ounces, maybe 2 ounces, you know, of kelp or seaweed, depending on what you have available. Now, don't use that nori paper, right? For sushi, don't use that. Don't. I mean, if you're in the crunch, you just want the flavor, you're in the bind, you can try to get away with it, but it really won't be the same, okay? So we're gonna use the kombu, right? We're gonna use the kelp, and we're gonna add it to this with our other vegetables. Now, speaking of the other vegetables, let's get to that now as I start wrapping it in the cheesecloth. Now, inside of this pot with the pork neck bones, right now we're going to add our kelp. I'm using cheesecloth because I'm going to wrap it, right? I'm probably going to break this some more than I've already broken it. There you go. So that I can get a good wrap on it. Sure, I could fold it, but I'm not. Now we have a couple of leeks here that we washed earlier, okay? Put the leeks in there. We have a whole bowl of garlic. The whole bowl, put it on there. The entire thing. And then ginger. Now the ginger, you do it to your taste, okay? I happen to like ginger a lot. So I probably have a good 1/4 cup maybe of ginger, which is okay by me. And we're going to just wrap this. Okay, get it nice and wrapped. And we're going to twist it. Twist the ends. And we're going to tie it in the middle. Now, what this is going to do is allow us to add our vegetables and remove them easily after they're done cooking. Right? So now this little packet set. Now let's start loading up the pot. Now we're going to take our neck bones that we've washed, add them to the pot, all in there. Add our vegetables, just press them in there. And as they cook, it'll soften up and they'll go down more. Now we're also going to add 4 cups of chicken stock. So let's get that added in there. Now we're going to top this off with water. I'll be right back, show you what it looks like. Now this is what it looks like. We're going to put this on the stove, and once it comes up to a boil, we're going to let it boil for about 15 minutes, and then we're going to turn it down to a simmer for 3.5 hours. Okay. Now, the initial boil, we're not going to put the top on it. We want it to come to a slow boil. Okay. But when it's simmering, we want the top on it. So let me get that going. So as you can see, there's no debris on top, no foam or anything. If you did have that, it's been percolating here for 15 minutes on a rolling boil. If you did have that, just take a skimmer, skim it off, right? Because you want your broth to be clear, clean, right? So since we don't have that, what we're going to do now is we're going to turn down the low, medium low to low, and we're going to put a lid on it. And this is going to percolate for 3 hours, right? That will give us time to do the other parts of the recipe. Stay tuned. So because I initially blanched it for a good hard 20 minutes on a good rolling boil in 20 minutes, a lot of the debris and the imperfections, the impurities, if you will, came out of the meat, okay? And also, from when I soaked it prior to that and I washed it, it got more of that off. That's why when it was boiling, coming up to the boil for the first 15 minutes, to check for any additional impurities, it wasn't there. Now, if you're one of those people, like myself from the South, you've made chitlins, hog mogs, ham hocks, anything that's really fatty, right? Fat back, right? There's a lot stews, right? There's a lot of fat that comes up, so you want to skim that, okay? So that's why I was doing that. Sorry about that. The pot was getting out of control. Had to tip it a bit. It wasn't overboiling. It's just, the steam comes out, it goes back down. You hear a little sizzle, so your ears start picking it up, your brain meat start going, so you have to check on it. Always check on it. If it don't sound right, check on it, okay? Remember that. So, like I was saying, the foaming impurities that come up on the water, you want to skim that off, right? That will give you a clear broth in this case. Now, me personally, I've always fought, for the most part, with clear broth, right? Because it wasn't until recently, really, that I really started focusing on the pre-cleaning, the blanch cleaning, and then the skimming to get my broth clear, right? It makes all the difference, okay? So you want to make sure you do that. It pays off in the end, and you'll be satisfied, okay? Now, let me get back to this. The stock is going to be going for 3 hours, as you already know. But during that time, I'm going to be boiling a couple eggs. You don't need to see that, but I'll be doing that. Once it's done, I will go to the next step, which is the pork shoulder that I'm going to be adding to it, and the bean sprouts, okay, and then some green onions. So stay tuned for that. We'll get into that, but I just wanted to make sure you guys understood why I was doing what I was doing, when I was doing it, okay? Back to it. For a good soup, you want to have a nice seasoning base, okay? And that's what we're going to do this time. We're going to make a nice base. It's a soy sauce base, okay? We're going to use this to infuse our meat. We're going to use this also to season the actual broth itself, okay? Because if you notice, I didn't put any salt and pepper in this because you don't need it, right? This is a soy sauce based broth, okay? So therefore you need no salt, okay? But with all the other aromatics in it, it's not meant to be heavily spicy, so you don't really need pepper, Now, if after the fact you want to add that, hey, by all means, go for it. But for now, we're not doing it. We're just going to give it to you in its pure form. So now let's start working on the sauce. Let me tell you what you need. So first we have our ginger here. We're like, 4 good slices, right, of ginger. Okay. We have about a tablespoon of minced garlic, about 1.25 cups of soy sauce, and here we have roughly about 3/4 cup, about 6 ounces or so, if you wanted to guess on it, 6 ounces of mirin, and then the same 6 ounces, or you can go up to 3/4 cup of sake. Okay. Don't worry, you're not going to get drunk off this. It's going to cook through. So now let's go ahead and put this together. Let's get this on the stove. So we have the little pot on here. Let's add our ingredients. Soy sauce goes in. Nice. Add our ginger in. Throw our garlic in. There we go. Our mirin. And we can't forget this sake. Now we want to bring this to a boil, and we want to let this boil for like a good 10 minutes. And then we're going to let it start to cool down. So we're going to take this off now, off the fire, and let it start to cool. Alright, so now let's talk a little bit more about protein. So I'm going to be adding some pork shoulder into this. We're going to be cooking it in the broth for just a half hour. And I might have a little piece here that I cut off of my huge pork butt that I was going to smoke. Right? But I wanted to do this. It's Mama Shra can have her soup, so no biggie, no harm, no foul. So we're going to be adding that to the broth, and we're going to let that cook for about a half hour or so. And then we're going to take it out and let it start to cool down. So as you can see, 3 hours in, still percolating. Now we're going to add our piece of pork shoulder. See? Add our piece of pork shoulder in, right into the broth. Make sure it's covered with the broth. I'm going to give it about 30 minutes. And then we're going to take it out. Alright, so we've taken our pork out. I'm just going to put our sauce base, our soy sauce base, on it. Now we're going to let this cool, and when it gets cool enough, we're going to put it in the fridge until it's time to eat. Alright, so the broth is done, right? The seasoning sauce is done. As you can see, seasoning sauce, it's in the jar here. This will hold for a good week easy in the refrigerator. Now, we also have a broth. Now, this broth is going to hold a good week easy in the refrigerator. Now, of course, life happens, so I'm going to have to stop this video for the time being, but we're going to catch back up on it and finish it. For you, it's going to be instantaneous, but for me, it's going to be several hours later. But you will get this soup recipe in its entirety, so just bear with me. Life happens. I'm glad you're still watching, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the show. Alright, so like I was saying before, life happens. But pandemonium is under control, okay, and the show must go on. So now let's get back to what we were doing. Now this is going to be slightly sped up, this portion, right, because all the hard work's been done. So basically all we got to do is, blanch the bean sprouts, which I've already done. That's out of the way. Cut up some scallions, out of the way. Slice up the pork, out of the way. Right? Slice the egg, out of the way. But I am going to boil the noodles. You don't need to see me do that. They're fresh noodles. And Mama Shra picked them out, you know, because this is what she wanted. This kind here, she likes the noodles that look more like the noodles you would get from Tom Ramen. Okay, not what I would have picked, but that she liked that, so that's what we're gonna do. So on the stove, the broth is heating up, the seasoned sauce is heating up. So now, let me go now and cook the noodles, and then we'll be back to start plating all this stuff up. So I changed my mind. I'll show you how to do these noodles real quick. These are fresh noodles, so it's only going to take like, you know, 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes to cook. So add these in. A little stir. Give these about 2 minutes, maybe 2.5. I'll see. All right, these are done. Let's get these strained and let's start plating up. Now for the garnish, you know, real simple. Bean sprouts, our pork. We have some scallions. We have our eggs. Right? Sweet and simple. Let's get this set up. And our broth, our pork bone broth. Now I'm going to add our seasoned sauce. And you can add this to taste, okay? Mixed in. Now let's add our ramen. Carefully, don't burn yourself, because the soup is hot. A little mix. A little pull. Just lay it out. Okay, so now we're going to add, let's go with the bean sprouts first. Add a little bean sprout. Again, as much or as little as you like. And our pork. And our egg, and you already know, Mama Shra, she doesn't do runny egg yolks. So if you're looking for that here, you won't find it. Okay, add our scallions. Very nice. Now, I was supposed to do shrimp with this as well, but like I said, you know, life happens. So we didn't get to do that. So let's look at what we have. All right, there we go. There's our Shoyu Ramen. Real tasty. Yeah, I mean, there are some steps to it, but I know you're gonna like it. Hey, give this recipe a try. If you like it, let me know. Go in the comments. Hey, share this out if you can. Right? Subscribe if you can. Hey, it's free. You can get to the button quick. Join the peanut gallery. Be a part of the family. That being said, my mouth is watering now. There's Shrashira, and I'm out, because I got to make my bowl now.